Here's what's happening. We're going to have a debate now about climate and the cost to us all. Ahead of the King's speech, Rishi Sunak is going to double down on anti-green policies by announcing North Sea oil and gas exploration, as well as pushing more pro-car policies. And that immediately gives me the heebie-jeebies. There are too many cars in this country, and no politician will have the guts to say, stop making them, because it means jobs in certain constituencies and whatever. But end of story. It doesn't matter if you make them electric or whatever else goes into them. It doesn't matter. There are just too many of them. There can be millions and billions more electric cars. We still won't be able to move around the place. Too many cars. Take my word for it.
Yeah, so these anti-green measures, if you like, are going to be sold as a package to bring down energy bills this winter. But is it right to prioritise cheaper energy bills over saving the planet? That's our debate this morning. And we're talking to the head of policy at Net Zero Watch, Harry Wilkinson, as well as...
we've got lecturer in natural sciences at Bangor University. It's Christian Dunn. Very good to have both of you. Christian, in fairness, I think a lot of people know the argument that where you're coming from. So I'm going to start with Harry, and then you take on whatever Harry's going to say. Harry, why would you say, yes, we should put the cost of living ahead of saving the planet?
Well, when you look at net zero at the moment, it's a legally binding target, which means we're obliged to meet these climate targets.
Well, it's only legally binding because we have made it legally binding, but we're going to unlegal it. Forget that.
Well, that's true, but it means that priority becomes ahead of other considerations. You know, people want to help the planet, they want to get emissions down, but also if we impoverish people on the journey to getting there, then what we'll see is that people will be turned off by the green agenda and they'll be really struggling.
Has he got a point there, Christian?
I think turning people off the green agenda is a real issue here. And I think when you have the actions of people like Just Stop Oil, they don't do for me, and I don't think they do the cause any good at all. I think what we're seeing here is just kicking the can down the road. I mean, we know that we have to stop burning fossil fuels. That's just a given. We know that the climate is changing. So by the government kind of allowing more of the oil drilling in the North Sea, we're not really solving the problem. We're just letting another generation sort it out. What we should be doing is addressing the problem now with investment in other technologies and obviously renewables, but nuclear as well. We have to be looking at this. We can't just be a quick stopgap of getting some more oil out the ground.
But Christian, you know why it is a quick stopgap, because they all pee their pants that they're going to lose votes and lose their seats and lose whatever election that comes up. So let's just, just say to people, yes, we're your friend, we're on your side, and it's very short-termism. I honestly feel, I even feel now, where do you go for holidays that you're not going to be involved in a forest fire or something awful or an earthquake goes on or whatever? I think it's a very scary situation. So you can see why they're doing it, Christian.
I can, without a doubt. I think, though, and I think it's all very easy for us in Britain, nice to comfortable middle-class people. It's all very nice, and it's not really a problem that's affecting us right now. We know it's going to affect us in the future, but not right now. But I work in Vietnam, and there you have farmers in the Mekong Delta their livelihoods are being affected now, today, because of climate change, exacerbated by climate change. There are other factors as well, but their issues are being exacerbated by climate change. If you look at Florida, billions of pounds have been spent on the Everglade restoration, billions of dollars. But this is now being undermined because of sea level rise. Climate change is affecting areas in the world right now. In Britain, okay, we get to, the climate is a bit different. We get a few extreme weathers. The seasons come a bit differently. But how is it affecting many of us? I'd argue probably not that much, but it will do. And we have to start addressing that now, not just let another generation deal with it.
So, Harry, how do you come back to that? Do you accept the argument, then, that perhaps you're just kicking the can down the road and ignoring the facts that are probably affecting other people in other places more than us at this point?
Well, climate change is affecting us now. However, we've never been safer from the climate. 100 years ago, millions of people were dying because of extreme weather events, and that's come down dramatically because of economic improvements. Actually, we see that when we prioritise economic growth, we become safer, and it's people in the developing world who need that economic growth more than anyone. So by prioritising cost of living both here in the UK, but also around the world, economic considerations, we can make sure that we're much better prepared to deal with climate change in the future. The poorest, even here in the UK, struggle to heat their homes in the winter. That means people are actually dying in the cold in the winter in this country each year. And that's tragic. And if we can see people supported with that, supported with the cost of energy, then, we will see people much better prepared.
Christian, can I just ask you what you make of this kind of argument that it's one or the other, that, you can either save the planet or you can help people on a budget who are struggling financially? It seems to me that a lot of green ideas are actually not expensive. The idea, if you can't afford to heat your home, you put on a couple of extra jumpers, you recycle, you consume less, you fly less, you eat less, you buy less. All of that is actually good for the planet and good for your purse. Does it have to be one versus the other?
I don't think it can't be one or the other if we're going to actually make a real difference. And I think we also have to think so much more differently, societally differently, when it comes to addressing the climate issue. For our planning permissions, when we have new developments, we should be looking at making sure that they has micro-generation on all of those properties, all those new supermarkets that are going up. We have to start thinking differently about this, because exactly as you're saying, we can't let it hit people's pockets. We have to look at it as in a positive way. Using nuclear power, potentially, that could be an incredibly positive thing if we can do it right. And that does not just in the UK. We could then use that, as Harry is saying, in developing parts of the world as well. There's so much we can do to improve the climate, but also improve people's livelihoods. And if we get that balance right, then we're on to a winner.
Fascinating listening to you. Thank you. And Harry, thank you very much indeed for your argument. I sort of sense between you there may be some common ground there. Thank you both very much indeed. And just to say, Isabel, that it doesn't have to be always at each other's throat. You can still want to do good things for the planet and still help people who can't pay their bills at the minute as well.